Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Magic and Miracles, where you learn how to be the magician of your life. My name is Anna, and I'm your most favorite manifestation coach on the internet. Reason why is nobody cares as much for their clients as I do, and nobody spends the amount of time that I do. I coach mainly in audio exchange as well as phone calls. The two packages for coaching on my website. The link is directly below to my website as well as to the coaching packages. Is the unlimited audio package and the unlimited phone call deluxe. In the beginning, when you start coaching with me, I really need to map out your history. Map out your belief system. This is why I do the thorough job I do. Every time that someone comes into my coaching, I really need to understand this person's history in order to help them my best. We usually start with a phone session for an hour to get to know each other. You tell me about your objectives in coaching, about yourself. I record that conversation for my notes later. I take a truckload of notes after each and every single client. And the reason I love doing that is because everything is really, really important to me about this person. And I love taking notes by hand. And so in the event of audio exchange, we exchange audios. You record an audio. Let's just say you start with childhood in the beginning. Each audio has to be 20-minute max. That's one of the rules of my coaching. I listen to your audio more than once. I transcribe it in my own way. Really detail-oriented, in a really detail-oriented way. It is more or less a transcript of everything that you've told me, minus the things that are not that important, but essentially 95% of what you've told me. I love taking notes, once again, because I can always look back. I can always notice the pattern, notice the similarities between certain events. Essentially, I'm looking for a pattern in your life that keeps reproducing itself on a loop, all right? Then, after listening to everything and recording everything by hand, I will record an audio for you of my analysis and further instructions of how to proceed next. So the first part of my coaching is always covering the history. And then once I get to know you, I give you different exercises like forgiveness, belief work, this and that. A lot of it obviously is centered around the beliefs that you carry, which is why you're producing the reality that you are producing today. In the case of the phone calls, again, the same more or less occurs. Instead, except we're on the phone 2 to 3 times per week for an hour. The audio exchange is the same frequency. I usually respond within a day or two with the audios. The phone calls 2 to 3 times per week. I transcribe that hour that we're on the phone for, and which is why the price is higher. Now, parenthesis here, I really wanted to make this clear because I don't think I was clear enough. The phone calls on my website are not the initial coaching. Okay, I just want to make it clear for everybody because I've gotten this question more than once. When you start coaching with me, you need to basically spend 2 to 3 months with me, okay, for the full program, for me to do my job in earnest. And so after that, either you're coming back into my coaching sometime later, or sometimes people just want to stay longer and we talk on the phone. Now, I already know this person. I don't take that many notes. I still do take notes all the time, but I already know this person's history inside out. And so if they choose to stay with me for longer, to touch up certain situations, to work on their manifestational goals and certain kinds of things that are extra, we then go to phone calls. And so that's what it is. So please don't confuse the phone calls with actual coaching. Okay, this is for somebody, like I said, who I already know and just chooses to stay on with me. And a lot of people have, okay, I have marvelous clients and they just like to stay with me. All right. Again, it's not for everybody. Some people are busy. They don't have time for the phone calls, but a lot of people are. And so a lot of people like that. Or again, it's for somebody who's coming back into my coaching after some time. They want to do, some touch-ups and this and that. So, but ultimately, if you're new, you need to pre-book my coaching. You need to sign the agreement. You need to choose between audios and phone calls. And you need to email me with the confirmation of the booking. And so then we proceed with the first phone call. Now, because of my schedule, it's usually a good idea to book as soon as you can so that I have a spot for you. It's always a rotation, people coming and going out of my coaching. And so as soon as a spot opens up, you're next in line. And my schedule is always changing. And so, again, the best idea is to pre-book and just email me right away. If you have any questions, you can always email me. The email is directly below. Also, if you are interested in a group seminar up to 10 people, you can book that through my website. It's basically $1,000 each per person, totaling $10,950. This is up to 5 hours of my time, and what I do is I cover everything that I cover in my coaching. But instead, it's a small group, and everybody has questions. I give you my undivided attention and answer everything you have. This, or we can do something that is custom that you want me to speak about, and that's also basically 5 hours of my time. Mostly people have chosen to do it via Zoom. It's easier. You don't have to fly me anywhere. If you're not in New York, I can do it just about, around the world, as you can imagine. So if you have any questions about that before booking, again, just email me. All right, the subject of today is your SP has no free will, okay? A lot of people who come into my coaching struggle with this idea because they tell me, but look at how they have behaved. And SP doesn't necessarily have to be a romantic relationship, by the way. It could be anybody. It could be a business partner, a friend, a family member, etc., etc. And the conversation usually goes like this. So you don't understand what they've done to me. They were horrible to me. They act like this and like that. They've always acted this way. La, 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 la. And I understand why people have such a hard time, because if you are creating haphazardly, if you're not on purpose with your creations, if you haven't done the work on your beliefs, let's start with that. If you haven't been in coaching with a coach that resonates with you, and you have watched like 300 million videos on YouTube that just give you some kind of a technique, I understand why people, could be frustrated and not believe this fully. And so in most cases, it just sounds like a fancy fucking idea that doesn't ring true, to certain people, to a lot of people, actually. It's not until you really do the work on yourself that you see real change in your 3D. And you realize, even though this will be, not a really comfortable realization to make at some point, but truth is friendly, facts are friendly, is that you created that SP the way that you created them. Why did you create it? That's another story. Usually has to do, again, with beliefs, insecurities, fears, lala, drama, panorama. If you created a version of SP who has done you wrong, parenthesis here, I don't mean somebody who was abusive towards you, okay? I really exclude that even from, like, in my coaching. If I realize that somebody is abusive towards you, was abusive towards you, physically, mentally, emotionally, I don't do these kinds of things. I don't advise you to. I don't think that's very healthy for a lot of reasons, obviously. I think you're better off creating somebody else. But if it was just a situation where they left you for somebody else, they were a jerk, but they weren't abusive, okay? They were somebody who just didn't behave in the way that you wanted them to. You created that scenario out of your own energy. And here is parenthesis here too. People who do not manifest Okay, most of my clients manifest very easily when when it really clicks in that it's all about them. It's all about you. You can go outside and complain, meaning about the 3D. Look at this and look at that and look at this. But it's not until you really face yourself in earnest and be brutally honest with you. And by the way, I am brutally honest in my coaching. Please expect that from me. It's actually in my in my coaching agreement that I'm allowed to give you feedback, that I will be completely honest with you about what I think. Otherwise, what are we doing, right? It's not until you're brutally honest with yourself that you created this version out of certain things that you believe about yourself, out of certain patterns, as I mentioned, that you have lived before. Whoever inspired you to think in a way that does not make you feel confident, that doesn't inspire confidence within you, doesn't promote self-worth within you, that is the problem. And you recreate the situation like over. It's never just one relationship. It's over and over and over and over. It's not until you stand up and say, you know what, I fucking had it. This is it. I'm doing the work on myself in earnest. And here's the difference between people who manifest and who don't, okay? At some point, it does have to click in, like I said, that it's all about you. It just is. So as long as you're looking for some kind of, you know, somebody to blame on the outside, to complain about something, to whine about something, you're still doing the victim bullshit, okay? At some point, it does have to click in, is that you are the god of your reality. And sure, there are challenges of all sorts, you know, in life. Nobody has it like super easy. Even the people who look like beautiful on Instagram and this and that and have a ton of money. Trust me when I tell you, I have a lot of these people in my coaching, celebrities and just, you know, wealthy people alike. You would not believe the problems that they have. Nobody is problem free, but it's the way you approach a problem, so-called problem, that you've created yourself out of your consciousness. Okay. The main idea is that your self-concept, everybody loves to throw this around so much, I call it self-confidence, about you being in charge of your reality has got to change. It's got to change. So if you're one of these people who keep saying, I don't know how I'm manifesting this shit, you have a big problem. Okay? I don't know how to manifest, or I don't know how I manifest this. It goes back to you. It goes back to your vibration. What is vibration? The kind of energy that you emit into the universe on a daily basis. You have to be your own best friend and become like totally in sync with paying attention what the fuck it is you're creating. Otherwise, fucking forget it. Seriously though, you need to be in tune with that 100% of the time. And so it's never like a mystery what the fuck you're creating next. How are you feeling right now? Are you feeling like a victim, or are you feeling like a god? Quite frankly, that's the whole shebang. Okay? The power of vibration is truly like unlimited. If you get this, and I'll explain it to you in my coaching if you get into it, if you master this vibration, that's the end of story. That's the end of your troubles. Now, are you never going to have a problem? Are you never going to have some kind of a thing? Yeah, but you're going to know how to deal with it, and you're going to create on purpose, like I said, rather than coming off of like yet another some kind of situation from the past, expecting nothing better, being afraid of certain things, and reproducing it in your reality, quite frankly. So if you think that your SP, whoever they are, has free will in your reality, you're giving away your power. You're playing victim. And this goes for everything. This goes for health. This goes for money. This goes for absolutely any kind of relationship at all. Okay? You know how powerful you are? You can make it rain. Like literally the rain from the sky, you can make rain appear. I've done this many times just for fun. All right? You can make signs appear. A lot of my clients like to play with signs, and they always appear when they want them to Do you think this is just like a chance, that this is just a coincidence of some kind? No such thing, my darling. You create this 3D out of your sheer imagination, your consciousness. Okay, how else can I explain this to you? So if you get into one of your pissy moods and your victim mentality, well, then you know what to expect. And if you all of a sudden, meditated or, listened to some nice music, had a nice meal, and made a decision that, you know what, enough is enough. I'm tired of playing the fucking victim. I'm going to create something that I really want to create. And my SP is going to act this way and that way. And it doesn't matter what happened before. It really doesn't matter for several reasons. Number one would be that you changed, and so they changed. You changed your mind about what you wanted to create, and now they have to change. Okay, does it happen overnight? Well, if you haven't done the work fully, then don't expect it to happen overnight, but it could. Changes can start happen. As long as you're changing, they're changing. As long as you're changing, your 3D is changing. Rest assured. This is just how it works. It's all a mirror anyway. All right? And the second reason, of course, is because of the idea of parallel realities. It doesn't matter what happened. It doesn't matter what they said to you before. They could have been a jerk. They could have left. They could have completely abandoned you, disappeared, this and that and the other. Just married somebody else and this and that, drama panorama. Okay, like I said, as long as that they were not abusive towards you. Okay, that's where I draw the line. You can recreate this whole shebang if you change your mind about the situation, if you change your mind about this person. Now, what most people do, right, it doesn't happen fast enough for them. And they think that they need like some kind of a magic fucking wand to wave in the air and for them to appear. And if it doesn't happen fast enough for them, they give up on their manifestations and continuously go back to paying attention what the 3D shows them. Okay, if you want to pay attention to the 3D, then be my guest. Has it served you thus far? No, the 3D is your bitch. The 3D is your slave. Literally. Why take the cue from something that is constantly taking the cue from you? That's why there is no free will in your reality. Everybody's just orchestrating your will. They're orchestrating your consciousness, like making it into the visible. Okay? And so again, it doesn't matter if they were a jerk to you. It doesn't matter if they ran off with somebody else and this and that and the other. They can start changing in the most immediate future if you change your mind about the situation and you change your own mind. Your belief system, it needs to fucking change. Whatever you're expecting out of this person, if you're dwelling on resentment, if you're like angry, parenthesis here, I'm not saying it's not okay to feel anger and resentment. I think it's normal. I think if somebody like fucked you over, for the lack of better verbiage, and did you wrong, you're more than entitled to feel anger and resentment and this and any other. The idea, though, is to process these emotions and let go of them. Now, some people take a little bit longer than others, because chances are some drama panorama happened and it's been going on for some time. But as long as you don't, shy away from this work and you process these emotions, then you have the opportunity of letting it go and creating a new version of events, a new version of this person. But if you're hanging on or like on these 3D things where it's like, oh, look, they're not with me. Oh, look, they're with somebody else. Oh, look, I'm going to check their Instagram and see all the shit that I don't want to see. Why are you doing that to yourself? That's not creating on purpose. Don't do this to yourself. Creating on purpose, quite frankly, does require delusion in the healthiest sense of the expression. It does require delusion. Delusion to what? To what has happened thus far. There is no other way to create anything new. If you're paying attention to much what is going on in the 3D and what has happened thus far, that is all that's going to continue happening. And I'm just going on the assumption that that's not at all what you would like to create next. It's a change in mentality, right? So what if you absolutely knew that everything was going to work out in your favor from this point on? You can make that decision right now, right here, and say, I don't care what happened before, but from this point on, I'm orchestrating such a magnificent change in my world that everything is going to go in my favor. It could be hard to believe that. I agree. I'm not saying this is easy. If it was easy, everybody would be fucking doing this. It's not. It's a lot easier to watch 300 million videos on YouTube and, continue trying to apply certain techniques rather than face the person in the mirror and actually get to know who the fuck's creating your reality. That's why a lot of people shy away from this work. Some, not a lot, but some. It's difficult. It's not easy. It requires a muscle where you're determined to do it. And the people who succeed in manifestation are determined to do it. They've had it. They've had enough of the bullshit in their life. You cannot continue on, just dwelling on what is and complaining and this and that and make changes at the same time. It just doesn't go like that. At some point, you have to quit complaining, right? And start the work on the most important person in your life, yourself. And here's the deal, right? 2 things I have to say. All of your desires are God-given. So there's no such thing that, you're not entitled to something. It's all God-given. Universal power given. Okay? Whatever label that suits you. There's no such thing that the desire is born within you to manifest something or manifest someone in a different way or change a situation that is not inspired by your higher self. And so as you're getting your desire into your mind, it's already manifest in the parallel reality. You just have to understand that, first of all, you're not so unique that you've concocted this desire in your mind, that it already exists. But secondly, that the universe is on your side. You're always perfect, and your reality, believe it or not, yes, it's always perfect. And I know some people will hate hearing it, but what I'm saying, why I'm saying that it is perfect is because life is always fair. It makes sense. Because if whatever you are outputting, what kind of energy, the kind of energy that you're putting out there always comes back to you in the form of people and events and circumstances. Okay? So it's always perfect. It always makes sense. So if you'd like to fuck it up for yourself in the 3D, you're welcome to, but you don't have to. Okay? You can choose a different route. It's literally I see it like 2 roads, just for simplistic terms, right? So there's innumerable parallel realities, but it's like one road is into the victim, situation and more of the shit show situations, and the other is quite frankly magnificent. Taking ownership of your life and realizing, I understand how I created the shitty version of this person, events, and this and that. I understand that nobody has free will in my reality. And it's about time I get off my ass and start deciding, making decisions, rather than complaining what I see in the 3D. All right? I like this quote. I wrote this down. I was watching Ocean's 13 the other day. I love that movie. So cool. And Ruben, the character Ruben, forget the actor's name now. He said, the moment you become embarrassed of who you are, you lose yourself, right? So the moment you become embarrassed, feeling desperate, feeling like a victim, feeling like there's no way out of your situation, there's no way to change the situation, that's it. There's no way out. The moment you start introducing doubt, fear, and all that drama panorama, you can't go anywhere with that. But if you replace it, okay, deliberately replace it with self-confidence. And confidence in what? Confidence in the fact that you've created all of this anyway. Anyway. That people are quite literally powerless in your reality, other than you give them power. If you're giving the power to the third party, okay, or the SP or whoever, okay, it doesn't really matter, and you're giving them power so much so, and you say, you really hurt me, this was so hard, la la la, I'm completely powerless before you. I'm powerless that I'm feeling this for the longest now. Some people, can get over it for years in some cases. You've given away your power rather than taking ownership of your reality and saying, I've created you like this. So now what? Now what are we going to do? I'm going to decide for you, as I always should have, as I did before, but I didn't do it consciously. That's the entire difference, guys. Deciding something consciously and not deciding and deciding something unconsciously without like actual decision, being made. That's the whole difference between creating something on purpose and just accepting whatever life gives you, quote unquote, life gives you. Your unconscious creates whatever you've got going on in the belief system department. And so if you're not fucking aware what you're creating, then don't be surprised. That's the entire difference. You don't go to the restaurant and you just say, hey, just bring me whatever. Just bring me whatever. Well, they bring you whatever, but that's not what you want. You want a certain kind of meal, a certain kind of situation, maybe a glass of wine or whatever it is, you're doing. You're so important. You're the most important person in the world. You are the VIP, the very important person of your reality, of your creation. That when you start not liking somebody, right, they don't like you back. When you start liking somebody again, they all of a sudden change their mind about you. It's all your decision anyway. When you don't command respect, people don't fucking respect you. When you command respect, people start paying attention. Oh, I better respect them. Look at how they respect themselves. And so not only your SP doesn't have free will, nobody has free will in your reality. You distribute the roles as you go. And so as hard as it is to hear for some of you, you've created that version. You instructed them to ghost you. You instructed them to leave you out of your fears, out of your beliefs about yourself. And so the only person who can change the situation is you. Have I made that clear? It's a decision away to start changing this person right here, right now, and send out a message to your universe, okay? I like to spell it like this, Y-O-U-niverse, okay? That my SP is going to apologize to me, at the very least. If you don't want them back, listen, some people don't. All right, that's fine. At the very least, they're going to apologize to me. At the very least, they're going to change towards me. And if I want them back in the process and change my mind about, how they are towards me now, how they're behaving, then I'm going to change them in a completely different person. One who is gaga for me, one who is in love with me all over again, one who is like making it up to me till the rest of motherfucking time. It's everything can be used in your favor if you look at it this way. Right? So even the shitty shit, the fucked up shit that happened, you can always twist it around and use it in your favor. And by that, I really mean that if this person was unkind to you or did some shitty shit by you, how much more exciting it is to have them realize that they were an absolute horror to you. And now they feel so guilty, so ashamed of their deeds, that now it's like they're bombarding your phone and trying to just get a couple of minutes of your time to tell you how regretful they are. Whereas before you weren't expecting it, you were just accepting things like they are, but now you're no longer accepting that situation. You're going to be like, oh my God, they're drowning in regret for what they did to me. The only reason that this hasn't happened thus far is because you haven't validated yourself. You've accepted the situation and said, well, c'est la vie. I'm just going to, I was mistreated and that's the end of story. There's nothing else that I can do. Of course you can. And the same asshole who broke your heart all of a sudden turned into a Prince Charming simply because you instructed them differently now, and you expect that now rather than accepting some bullshit from them. It just all happens in your mind anyway. Any situation at all, regardless what department of your life it is in. Okay, the idea is to take back the reins of your reality and start being the boss, the CEO of your life, and if that is the case, and it is, you cannot no longer blame anybody. You can no longer complain about something that you don't like. The idea is to change it yourself. Thank you very much for listening. All the information from me is below. Until next time. Ciao, ciao.